the resounding defeat of Russian troops in Izium in the Kharkiv region, and then the surrender of Liman in the Donetsk region. All this became a pretext for criticism of the military leadership by Putin's inner circle. Liman was of great operational importance for the army of the Russian Federation. It is located at a key crossroads on the left bank of the Seversky Donets, along which Russia tried to supply its army and strengthen the new front line. It didn't work out. The head of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov, immediately blamed the commander of the Central Military District, Colonel General Lapin, for such a failure.
It's not a shame that Lapin is mediocre, but the fact that he is covered up at the top by the leaders in the general staff. If it were up to me, I would demote Lapin to the rank of private, deprive him of his awards and send him to the front line to wash away his shame with the gun. Ramzan Kadyrov, head of Chechnya, on Telegram.
He was also supported by businessman Yevgeny Prigozhin, who reposted on his social networks Kadyrov's message criticizing the Russian military leadership. Analysts at the American Institute for the Study of War noted that Kadyrov and Prigozhin are part of a small group of leaders with significant power who either belong to Putin's inner circle or have direct access to him.
Kadyrov and Prigozhin are bona fide members of the small group of leaders Russians call siloviki, people with meaningful power bases and either membership in or direct access to Putin's inner circle. Their statements on October 1st have had a profound effect on the Russian information space. Together they broke the Kremlin's narrative that attempted to soften the blow of the defeat around Liman. From the analytical report on the Institute of the Study of War.
The statements by Kadyrov and Prigozhin became a serious signal of the beginning of the collapse of the power vertical in Russia. This was especially evident in recent days, when Ukraine began to actively deoccupy its territories.
It became clear that the end is not so far. Therefore, people began to prepare for life after Putin, and in particular a whole series of such statements by Kadyrov, when he in particular announced that he would not carry out any mobilization on the territory of Chechnya, because everyone had already mobilized. It is a clear disobedience of the presidential decree. This is quite a contagious thing. Why, if he can do it, then others cannot? That is, this is the beginning of the collapse.
The Russian elite wants to preserve the current model of power, and to do so they need to remove the president from power. According to political expert Valery Klochok, if this does not happen, Russia will fall apart.
I have a clear impression that the scenario of Putin's removal from power at this stage is being implemented. It's not so easy, because there are several clans that deal with international political processes in the Russian Federation. Let's remember the same Patrushev who is actively working on the issue of Putin's removal. Valery Klochok, political expert, in an interview with Espresso TV.
If Putin decides to use nuclear weapons, everyone will try to stop him, Russian opposition leader Ilya Ponomarev believes. In this case, the leader of the Kremlin will be physically eliminated.
His entourage is totally against it. It is suicide not just for him, but for them, as well on equal terms. Everyone will try to stop him. The question is, by what methods? Because there are two scenarios that can stop a person. One is a bullet, and the other is a rope. Well, maybe also poison. There are no other scenarios. Ilya Ponomarev, Russian opposition politician, in an argument program of the Union News Agency.
According to opinion polls, the level of trust in the Kremlin leader in Russia has dropped sharply against the backdrop of recent events.
The head of the state becomes the only one responsible for all the troubles that he brought to Russia. And with such a burden of responsibility to lead the country is impossible. I think that at this moment, first of all, the security forces will refuse to trust him. Well, then the masses, who are not threatened by the security forces, will sweep away this regime along with the security forces.
And in the event of an attempt to use nuclear weapons, Putin will no longer be just a war criminal. he will be a threat to humanity, and in this situation, according to experts, the military and political elite of Russia will have no choice but to physically eliminate Putin by any means. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Natalia Husak, UATV News.